The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on November 25th, 2020.
Welcome to Business Matters, sponsored by the Maui Chamber of Commerce. And now here's your host, the president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, Pam Toompop. Good morning, Pam.
Hey, good morning, Gary. How are you this morning?
Very good. It's a nice sunny day, and it's better than snow.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Well, happy Thanksgiving
Thank
coming
you.
up to you and Doreen
Yes.
and to all of our listeners. 'Tis the season, and we're getting in a jolly mood. It's time to be grateful for so many things, all
Yes,
the blessings
yes.
that we have and the many blessings that are coming and solutions to challenges we face. And we want to thank you, Gary, for the tremendous efforts that you do every week to help produce this show for us. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
We are grateful for you.
And for you, too.
So-
All the work that you
Oh.
do.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome everybody to the show. We are going to have a great day on Business Matters. First, we're going to speak with Rick Nava, longtime resident businessman and community advocate from West Maui, to discuss Bill 9. This is the short-term rental bill that we are still addressing in our community. We're going to speak to Arnold Wunder about the giving machine, and he's going to tell you all about that and how you can help this holiday season for those in need. We're going to also learn more from Hotu Creations, one of our amazing Hawaiian Airlines Made in Maui County Festival vendors. And for those who have somebody on their shopping list this holiday season who might love lovely, gorgeous pearls, stay tuned because you're going to want to hear more from them. But first, we're going to begin with Rick Nava. Rick is a retired U.S. Army veteran, longtime owner of MSI Maui, a photo and video production company. He is the past president of Rotary Club of Lahaina, the current executive director of the West Maui Taxpayers Association, which is the organization we talked about last week with Joe Pluta, who is building that Oluwalu Fire Station privately through private funds to actually donate to the County of Maui, as we discussed last week. So he is involved in many community activities, has been involved with West Maui's recovery efforts, working hard to also get funds to community organizations this holiday season to support the greater food subsistence needs. And so he's been actively involved in so many projects, as well as a chamber member for a very long time. And today he is here to discuss solutions to Bill 9 while sharing some of the impacts that are concerning, really wanting to focus on solutions. Good morning, Rick. How are you this morning?
Hey, Pam. Good morning. Doing very well here. Thank you.
Oh, so great to have you on the show. Well, Bill 9 is going to be coming up again. Thank you. Bill 9's coming up again very quickly this holiday season. And, one of the concerns that we've seen is, of course, everybody is screaming for housing. We are desperate for housing. The county has not seen the building of housing over the last 16 to 18 years, as Paul Brubaker pointed out, in the way we used to build housing in the past. There were a number of reasons for that, some bad legislation enacted before under Danny Mateo that really hampered our housing building growth. But now we're facing a new issue with the short-term rental bill. Why don't you start off by sharing some of the impacts that you think are concerning about this bill, so then we can share those and then work on what the solutions are to those potential impacts if it's passed as is.
From the very, very beginning, when, before this was even a part of the solution, this Bill 9, I have always said that housing and the economy should be worked on side by side. You cannot have people staying at a home and not be able to afford to live in there. And at the same token, these people can go to work, have mental health, and knowing that they don't have a place to live. So, to me, it was very important that we look at it side by side all the way through. Now, ever since Bill 9 came about, and I just believe that this bill, this act, when it was put out there, I believe that it wasn't thought up. First of all, what will it do? And then when the bill came up, it's half baked. And so here we are today, still trying to figure out, is this really the solution to our housing crisis? I believe not. However, we do know that Bill 9 will reduce the Maui's GDP. It will also eliminate over 1,900 jobs and trigger about 20 to 40% drop in the condominium values. And the most important thing, I believe, would be cutting the visitor spending by $900 million a year. Now, so now we have all this housing that we said, we want to do, but yet now we don't have people here on Maui that because they can't afford to work. There's no work for them. So it's really nerve-wracking to think that we found a way to solve housing by, damaging our economy. And so this is where, a lot of us are talking about it. I have a lot of friends that are very, very concerned in both ways. And of course, a lot of my friends also, they really do not know where to go. But I feel that the true solution to this crisis is really to build homes, not to take away someone's property to give it to another person. Not literally giving it to another person, but I don't believe that's the solution. I believe that a lot of these units are not made for housing. We're thinking, will it be affordable? Maybe to people it is. It looks like it's affordable. But when you start adding the homeowners association, insurance, and a lot of these places are old, do you really have the kind of money to pay for all of this, to repair? Especially, again, if you do not have the work that you need to be able to afford this down the road. So yeah, it is it's a big issue, and I believe this particular bill it's almost like probably a short-term solution, but I don't think it's even a solution. And the other thing that I've always been asking is that I know, trying to jump into something here. People are saying, well, don't tell us where to live. But the fact is that a lot of these units are not made for families to live in. And
yeah, let me ring in on that for a minute. Yeah, let me ring in on that because we heard that call as well, and so we did a housing survey, to find out, right, where do people want to live? What type of home do they need? How much space do they need? How would they use where would they live? How would they use it? What do they need for their family? What do they want for their family? And just one of the key things that came out was 75% of people who rang in on our survey said they wanted a yard for gardening or children. We had they needed more than one parking space. The majority needed more than one parking space. Some of them wanted cars for, wanted space for 3 or 4 cars. They definitely needed more closet space because unlike a short-term rental, they were going to be storing things for the family, and they needed space for all the people in the family, and needed more closet space. So many things that they definitely needed. Full kitchen. It was a thing that showed us in many cases that the condominiums weren't really the right spaces for the needs that our residents are asking for with housing. It's just very limited. And I know you and I were part of a conversation where people were talking about some of the things that happened before in West Maui. Can you share some of those things that we learned as people were temporarily, right after the wildfires, moving into some of these units and some of the challenges that the community faced?
Yeah, well, actually, we lost our home as well, so we had to move into a condominium. And though it was comfortable enough for us because we know this is all that we can get. But imagine this for a moment: is that my wife watching TV at 10 o'clock at night for the Lahaina Luna against Kamehameha, and she's screaming. And about 5 minutes later, someone from somewhere comes knocking at our door, and tells my wife that she needs to be quiet because, noise discipline, or you need to, the noise, I guess, at 10 o'clock. So she couldn't do that. I was just like, oh my God, this is not right. And then we were told that we couldn't hang our towels outdoor because it's a homeowners, it's association policy, even though all we wanted to do was hang our towels before we put them in the dryer. And then what really killed me was that my two grandkids were riding their bike around the parking lot, and so someone came to the parking lot and told us that we couldn't ride our bike, the children's kids' bike around. And I said, it's 6 o'clock, sir, and we just want to have these kids ride their bike. It was like during the holiday. They just had their bike for Christmas. So, well, if you want, them to ride the bike, then maybe you should go up to Pukuli Road. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that I have to deal with. Of course, the other issue that I'm hearing, because again, I was also for a while there, I was also the a advisor to the mayor right after the fire, was that because a lot of people had a lot of cars, and Hunuakai became a fire hazard, people were parking their cars all over the place. And this is where I'm so concerned about is safety first. Most of these units, from what I heard, is that 95% of these units only have one parking stall. They were made for our visitors, not for families to live in. So that made it very difficult to really be comfortable. In fact, they complained about us because we had 3 cars. And so they keep telling us, no, you can't park here. You can't park. You only are allowed this particular unit, because we had a bigger unit. We were allowed 2 parking stalls. So they said they were going to find the owner, like I believe like $500 a week or something. And so finally, I took a picture of the parking lot. I look, it's 10 o'clock at night. The place is empty. Why are you telling me I can't park here? And nobody said anything. It was just like, so it was not a very healthy situation, for us. And I would hate for the people or families to be put into a situation such as this. And again, having a yard is really a big deal to my grandkids. And if you have kids, that's great. Yeah, we had a swimming pool, but there are rules that we have to follow, that you can't really enjoy a swimming pool. And so it made it very, very difficult to be in those units. And we did that for a year, and after 4 months we couldn't wait to get out of there. But we didn't have a place to go to.
Yeah, and as you point out, it's about the right fit, and I've been hearing stories again that people had more cars like you, but people had more cars than spaces available for them on the units. And so they were just parking everywhere in the parking lot. And again, if there had been any kind of disaster, trying to navigate out of that parking lot would have been horrendous. It would have been, it was a major safety issue, which is, there was enforcement because it was a major safety issue. But again, because people had multiple cars for their families, they didn't have space. And also, the other concern is, and I've heard people in testimony say, well, don't tell us how many people we can fit in the unit. And as someone who used to, years ago, have a unit at Harbor Lights, there are both condominium rules on how many people can be in the units based on the square footage, as well as county laws on how many people can be in the housing unit. So, there's so much that I think the public still doesn't understand, because a lot of these things haven't been vetted. And of course, in public testimony, that's not the time to vet it, because they're there to share their opinions. But there's so many things to the reports that have been given out that really don't go into these different living conditions and the challenges that we may face, which our housing survey, which we'll be sharing with the county council, is definitely bringing out.
You're so right about all this vetting process that should have been done previously. As I hear all of this, what's happening when we're saying we need housing now. However, if this bill goes through, this housing that we're saying will be the solution will not really take into effect until what, 3 years, 4 years, maybe at the earliest. So it's not really now that you're not going to get the housing immediately. We're still going to be dealing with FEMA here shortly when everything runs out in February. What I'm really mind-boggling to me is why the county hasn't been very active, or maybe they are, in talking to our home builders as speed up the solution. Part of the solution of what we're trying to do, build real homes. This to me is how we could solve the issues that we have now. Yeah, we have this $600,000 for the first-time home buyer, which is of course another different issue. But again, we do not have those affordable housings that are here, here especially here in Lahaina. You're going to get $600,000. Yet the mortgage, the homes, you're lucky if you can find a house that's less than $1 million, you still have a mortgage. So I feel that's what we need to do. We need to start building housing. We can't afford our people to continue to move out of the island, move out of Lahaina, because they can't afford, to be here in Lahaina. And then, of course, unfortunately, the downside to that is that we have a lot of businesses here in Lahaina who can find employees, and it's really difficult. But now they can find employees, but yet at the same token, with this bill, we're all over the place right now. This bill is going to eliminate 1,900 jobs. It's basically saying, okay, I'm sorry, but you're just going to have to move somewhere else. Of course, you're going to have housing that you can't afford, but there you go.
Yeah, and we're desperately fighting to save jobs here.
Yes. Well, yeah, we have to get the people to continue to have jobs, and our visitors, and this is where, because I've been in the visitor industry, I work a lot with people. I remember, Pam, that year when you and I worked so hard to have the Maui Invitational here, which is happening again. I recall when I went to watch the game on Oahu and talking to some of these people, and they were here, as again, basketball fans, more so because they love Maui. They come to Maui to help the people of Maui. And so now they're back here, and that's why we need to continue this thing with working with our small businesses, and a lot of the people that will be affected by this elimination of 1,900 jobs are our small businesses, and they are our economy. And it is important to me, as a citizen of Lahaina, who knows a lot of people, that this bill does not go through. I just feel that we need the people to remain here, and the only way they can remain here is to have a job that would enable them to buy that home that we do want to. In the meantime, we need to start working with our home builders to really create affordable homes. And the one thing that I keep saying before when I ran for office is the way we build these homes to make it affordable is that, the state, the county, and the federal need to collaborate, work together with our home builders, what to do, to make it affordable. And I feel like by taking care of the impact fee, the infrastructure, that would help definitely bring down the cost of these homes that we need to build so that our people could remain here on the island, anywhere here on Maui. And I just feel that we are not looking at the real solution. Our solution, I feel, has divided our community. And that it's not right. This is not how it should be. We sent out a bill out there that I feel, was not vetted properly. And so here we are in a situation where you're going to provide housing that might not really be the solution. I don't think it is the solution. And at the same token, you're taking away people's jobs.
Yeah, we really need to, this bill needs to be very carefully considered, and we're going to be coming up on hearing it again after the the temporary investigative report where there are some modifications suggested, and I know some people are looking at those and saying maybe those should be done first before we, stop this. But and also to your point, with the bifurcation of the housing department, it used to be Housing Human Concerns, and we had a charter amendment, and it was split to have a housing department specifically to focus on house building and getting more units built. And the Chamber's done housing forums, and to your point about if the state and county would partner with home builders as they used to do when we were building far more homes for every 1,000 residents. When we were building 4 times what we've been building over the last 16 to 18 years, as shared by Paul Brubaker previously, we have fallen so far behind, but the solutions, we did a housing summit in 2017, we did a housing summit in 2019. Many of the solutions are the exact same solutions, looking at a partnership with county, state, and home builders. And you and I have each talked to many home builders on island. Many of them can do over 1,000, 1,200, some of them 750 home units. Literally, they're saying we can do this in the next, 2 years. They're waiting. They're chomping at the bit to see partnerships form together to get more units available. And the challenge is the longer we wait, as more recovery effort, we had the perfect time when things were slowed down, when we were recovering after the wildfires. They were raring and ready to go, and things moved so slowly that a lot of these projects didn't get off the ground. Some of them are still waiting. Yes, there's been some permitting things that we've been dealing with and some measures that have to get different kinds of approvals. But now, if we were to sort of unleash them all, we've got a bigger challenge because of, employees and, trying to get everything done simultaneously. I mean, while collectively we could be looking at thousands of units, they're saying, work-wise and for a number of other reasons now, that would be a hard push, So now we kind of have to phase them in, but we have people who can do continuous building and are just waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the opportunity right now will probably be very difficult, given the labor force that it continues to deplete, because again a lot of people are moving out of the island, and then of course we're talking about building homes, but yet we're allowing all this monstrous home being built here in Lahaina right now, without the concern of safety. That's how I see it, because I know these homes are going to be built for multi-families. Where are they going to park? And so, yeah, I kind of like joke sometimes to my friends here in Lahaina that we here in Lahaina has become wild, wild west. You look at Wahikuli, where all these humongous homes are being built in the same footprint where there's hardly any parking. So where are these people going to park the road? But going back again to Bill 9, the other thing that nobody's really talking about is that the decrease in the revenues coming in from our visitor will affect tremendously our nonprofit organizations. And these are the same nonprofit organizations that helps our community. Just look at what's happening right now with Century Open not being held here in January. That would have been that's a $700,000 donation that was given to 10 nonprofit agencies here on Maui. Thanks to Mr. Yanai, he went on ahead and covered that and continued the support that they've always been giving to the nonprofits here on Maui. But that is something that very few people talked about. And you and I and Maui Hotel Lodging Association, we talk about it because we know how important our visitors are in the way we do in helping our community through the nonprofit. So
yes, and the county has said with the tax revenue loss, right? If this all goes through, it's a tremendous tax revenue loss. And we're talking about, when we talk about the nonprofits, who are we talking about? Well, we're talking about We're talking about senior programs. We're talking about youth programs, athletic programs. We're talking about community events and cultural programs, and we're talking about things that in our community we all cherish. We're talking about programs that help feed those in need. We're talking about money that could be spent on housing. And this has come up in council, and yet people just, for some reason, continue to just say, steamroll ahead, Bill 9 is the solution. And yet we're not fully vetting all of the trickle-down loss effects that are going to come from losing that income and where that income would otherwise go to support our community.
Yeah. So here's the scenario that I'm looking at if Bill 9 passes. So you're going to have people moving into this place that they don't, maybe short term they'll be able to afford it, and now it's going to go up, insurance is going to go up, all this maintenance that you're going to have to pay for, HOA and all of that. But you move in there and you're going to go, okay, not realizing that some of the jobs that you were holding on to are all basically tied into our visitor industry. And so now you're in a place, but now you don't have a job. Is that really how the solution is going to be? You have a place where you don't have any place for your children to enjoy, to live in your, with all these HOA rules that you are not familiar with. And then it's, and then of course, when you have friends and family who relied assistance from all this nonprofit agency, and they're going to say, well, we don't have that kind of money anymore. It's really very difficult for me to understand why this is even out there. I know the people are saying, well, they're just going to move into and stay at the hotels. I was like, no, these people, they have a certain budget when they're coming to stay at those condos. When you are staying at a hotel, you're basically tripling the price of your visit to Maui. And so, it's you're going to go from a place that you can cook your own meal to a place where basically you have to go to the restaurant and enjoy the meal, to a place where there's only 2 people can go. So if it's a family of 4 or 5, you might end up having to stay to get another room. So maybe the hotel will increase their occupancy, but I'll tell you what, they'll be looking for another place to go and visit. No matter, just as much as they love Maui, they would say, okay, you know what, we need a vacation. We can go somewhere else with the amount of money that we have. As much as we would like it to be spent on Maui, we can't afford to, and they're not going to do it. And then the thing that's really happening too right now at this very moment is that the visitor industry, our Canadian friends, are not coming here. So it's affecting. There's so many moving parts right now, and this will just impact even more so with our working group and how what kind of the jobs that's going on. We're going to be working, and of course, another issue that we've been talking about is that Front Street, because a lot of people that are here right now are basically underemployed. They are underemployed because there's no other way for them to work, and of course, it's just making it more and more difficult for people to survive here, and that's why they're moving off the island and going somewhere. Most of them are actually, I know a lot of them is already living in Las Vegas, just because it is the same industry, visitor industry, and it's a lot cheaper to live in Vegas.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot of that, and other states too. And as we've learned from what's happened in the past when people have out-migrated to other states. Many Native Hawaiians, I know, there was a big movement to check with them, and they all said, and not just Native Hawaiians, Filipino community. I mean, every people, from every race that lives in Hawaii, people who've left the islands, when you survey them, they say, we wish we could come back, but now that we've invested here and the prices are rising back at home, we can never go back to what we have. We've lost it, and they've lost it for generations now.
No, right. So it's, I know friends who basically have their parents or their parents with their children. They told them to go back to the Philippines, because they can't afford for all of them to be staying in a home that's not made for a family. But yet the rent is so expensive, and now they're worried again what's going to happen in February when the assistance for FEMA expire. So, and again, we keep saying housing now, housing now. Well, this is not housing now. Everything that we are doing right now is probably not going to be in effect. But we do know that if we work with the home builders, in 2 years we could have some homes built.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm not sure where that dialogue is going, but we need to start talking to our home builder friends and work together with them, truly build affordable homes for everyone, and partner the state, the county, the federal, partner with our home builders friends so that they can go out there and build homes that will be permanent, made for our Kama'aina families, and have something that they can honestly say, I own this.
Yeah. Well, Rick, we're going to have to end it there. That was the perfect note to end it on. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your thoughts on this. And we just want to encourage people to research this more, understand, and the Chamber agrees. The way to build ourselves the way to get homes, the only way to get homes is to build ourselves out of it. And we've delayed, and we need to get on it now, and there are partners to work with. Thank you so much for joining us, Rick. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you, Pam. Happy Thanksgiving, all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and Rita and your entire family. I hope you have a wonderful time.
Well, do.
Aloha.
Aloha.
You too. All right. Well, our next guest is Arnold Wunder, and as Gary gives him a quick call, I want to share a little bit about Arnold. Many of you may know him from Xerox. He retired after a 23-year career with Xerox and was always providing such tremendous service with a smile. He is active in a variety of community service projects. He also just celebrated his 50th wedding anniversary earlier this year with his wife, Colleen. They have 4 children and 15 grandchildren. And I want to share that he is also one of the best neighbors ever. And I know that because he happens to be my neighbor and has been our neighbor for many, many years, over 4 decades. And we truly appreciate Arnold and his tremendous service to the community in so many different ways. But today, he's here to talk about an important community service effort that he's involved with called the Giving Machine. Gary, do we have Arnold on?
He's on.
Good morning, Pam.
Oh, good morning, Arnold. How are you this morning?
I'm just fine. Thank you for having me on. This is such a great opportunity.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. I am so excited about this great opportunity. Can you tell us all about the Giving Machine?
Sure thing. We have our giving machines located at the Whalers Village in Kaanapali, and it's a vending machine, but unlike the vending machines you see that have consumable items like chips or drinks or candy, our giving machines are filled with products and services offered by local and global nonprofit agencies to benefit the poor and the needy. And 100% of the donations made at the giving machine go to these nonprofits. Our local nonprofit partners are Hospice Maui, the Hale'akeola Homeless Resource Center, which I got to put a plug in for. I didn't realize until recently that they provide needs to those who struggled through the fires in Lahaina. But I forgot that they were a victim themselves as their entire 6-acre campus was destroyed. So they're continuing to provide services while they're trying to rebuild themselves. We also have the Maui Food Bank, who's doing a tremendous job in trying to battle food insufficiency on the island. Parents and children together who work with families in crisis. And I was shocked to learn that among those that they work with are victims of sex trafficking. And I thought, on Maui, there's no way. But it happens, and they're there on the front line. And our last local partner is Women Helping Women, who does a tremendous job in the domestic violence area. But not just there, both men and women are beneficiaries of their efforts, and they even reach out to those with other problems and concerns. So we're so excited to have these 5 local partners who face a number of major social issues that our islands deal with. And we also have 2 global partners, Renters International And Water for Good provides services to poverty-stricken countries in Africa, the Philippines, and all over the world. So we're so thrilled to have that group with us.
That is amazing. Now, what sort of items can people find at the giving machine that they can contribute to?
You know, there are 30 different items in the giving machine. I'll just give you a couple of fun ones. My Food Bank offers a banana tree for $20. And think about that. You can, a needy family will receive a sustainable source of food. Just a great idea to me. The Homeless Resource Center provides a housing starting kit for a domestic violence victim who has to move into a new location with nothing to start off with. Hospice Maui offers something called a fidget blanket that I never knew what it was, but it's a blanket that has buttons and different things sewn into it. So people who are near death and unable to communicate and fidget with this, and it brings them peace for many hours during the day. I had never heard of such a thing. Parents and children together offer things like a family game set for, again, families in need that they can do things together as a family. Women Helping Women has a number of things to offer as far as fuel for their victims, hygiene kits, birthday gifts for children. And one of the fun ones is Mentors International offers a goat that can be purchased for needy families in poverty-stricken countries. And it's an amazing thing. They provide these goats. The goats provide milk, and then Mentors International helps the village become a co-op, and they take the goat, the milk and products to market to earn revenue for their families. I mean, there are just so many fun things in the giving machine, and people come, and it's always exciting to see what they decide to buy.
Yeah, and are they also offering shoes?
Yes.
And the reason I bring that up is so many times. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, I saw a picture of shoes. Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because so many times we see people who are houseless on the street walking barefoot, and their feet are worn, and and just some comfortable shoes, I think, is just such a great thing for so many people that would be so helpful. But I mean, I love all these different things. Particularly when you said banana tree, I thought, my gosh, right? They'll have bananas for years if they grow the banana tree. That's so wonderful and very creative and just really the fidget. I've seen so many fidget toys, but never a fidget blanket. But so many times recently we had a physical therapy company give a fidget ring away as a gift, for stopping by their booth, and talked about just how important that was for people who are so highly stressed these days to have something that helps take their mind off of that. So such creative ideas. This is really exciting to hear about, and so many different things that are going on. Tell us about some of the contribution levels that people can expect. What do the items range? I mean, we talked about something at $20. Where does it start, and kind of what are the high points that people expect when they go and visit the giving machine? Wow, fabulous.
You can purchase a 20-pound bag of rice from the Maui Food Bank for $5 that goes to a needy family, and there are products up to $100. And we've had just some cool experiences. On our launch date, a woman came in from Kihei. She was a senior citizen. She said, I live on a fixed income. I don't have a lot of spare money, but I want to be a part of this. And she bought a bag of rice for a needy family. This past Saturday, we had students from Kamehameha School's Just Serve committee there. And a very generous woman came up and said, I've got $150 I want to donate. You choose what I'm going to donate. These kids got we'll take this, we'll try that, we'll try this. And we've had some very generous donors. If you select 777 on the machine, it brings out one of each item. Very generous, $1,300 donation to number. And the cool thing with this is when you buy something, it's like a vending machine. The item moves out and it drops down into the bin. You don't have to take it, unfortunately, but it's just fun to see that occur as it's going through.
Nice. That's amazing. Yes, to see that it's processed and it's happening, so you know that the money did go through and everything's everything's going to be distributed. And yes, apparently
right.
we definitely can't distribute the banana tree and the goat out of the machine. That's not happening. So let's talk for a minute.
If somebody makes a contribution, they swipe their credit card, put in their cell phone number, and within 3 to 4 minutes, they get their receipt texted.
I love that. But then there's this coordination behind the scenes. Yeah, that's fabulous. I said, but then there's the coordination behind the scenes, because now the agencies are then following up to work to get these contributions out to the families in need.
That's right. So what basically happens is at the end of the initiative, we have a luncheon with each of the nonprofit agencies at Washington Place, which is Governor Green's home. They are the honorary chairpersons for the state, and each nonprofit is awarded their check. And then in March of 2027, I'll follow up with each of them. They have to provide a report on how they distributed the funds they received. And again, this is our second year doing this. It's just been a tremendous process working with a number of nonprofit agencies and to see how they benefit the people of Maui County. And again, all of the contributions made to our local nonprofits stay on Maui County, and 100% of your contribution goes to them.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I always talk about having run Maui United Way in the past. I always share the importance of understanding the administrative fees for nonprofits, right? And people have to still run the organization. But I always talk about how much of every dollar you're giving is actually going to the cause that you meant for it to go. And so to know that this 100% received on Maui stays on Maui, and that, 100% is going to the cause is so important. Because, for years, there were times where we saw nonprofits charging huge administration fees, and very little was going to the nonprofits or to the purpose. And we've seen some of that in some of the other efforts recently in our recovery. And it's really important to know that, what you're giving is really going to the purpose you expect it to go to. So that's tremendous. And I love that, again, a year later, they're also going to be giving a report showing how, tell us about the results and what happened with the money. And that's a phenomenal community report, so people can see and really trust in the system. I just really admire that. So we know that remind everybody where the giving machine is. At
Whalers Village in Kaanapali.
Yeah.
There's at 2 different spots there. And one of the important things is we look at the funds that are raised, and that's really important. But more importantly, what we are really excited about at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is we're giving people an opportunity to do a very simple thing, to bless the lives of someone else this Christmas season.
Yeah.
Our hope is that by doing small acts of good, we can light the world for everyone. It's just been exciting to see the response from our kama'aina, the response from our visitors as they come through. And, we're right in the middle of the Maui Invitational Basketball Tournament. And I would be remiss to say that I didn't want to get it in. I'd be remiss to say that we just happened to get it in time for the tournament.
Yes.
These people have been so generous. And again, both our visitors and our locals. We had a couple drive in from Hana just to see the machine and make a contribution. I mean, it's just such a wonderful thing.
It really is. And I will tell you that in the work that I've done and through the church, or just even at Maui United Way, the joy people get from giving, to know, to your point, to bless others this holiday season, and the joy they receive from that. And a testament is people driving from Hana to do just that. We had visitors who this year at the Maida Maui County Festival, we always have online volunteer service, and we have many visitors who sign up for that. But when people were on island and found out the festival was happening, they came to us, and thankfully we always buy extra T-shirts for our volunteers, knowing that sometimes people just show up. But this year, a tremendous number of people who just showed up and said, we want to be here and serve. We love Maui so much that we saw this and we wanted to serve your event. And instead, they shopped as well, but they worked really, really hard to support our local vendors. And this is the holiday season. This is for those in need. You can help with food. You can help with clothing and gifts and, shoes and things that need. You can help with banana trees where you're sustaining them for years in the future. What a great way to give. And so to go to Whalers Village in Ka'anapali, for most of us, that's a shorter drive, and definitely worth the effort to go there and get to be a part of this effort and know how many families are going to be helped through this. I just really, commend you, Arnold, and the church for putting this effort forward. For being, I know it's a statewide effort as well. This is going on in other islands in Hawaii, and we're just so excited to have it on Maui and be able to serve in this time and just bless others. What a great gift, and thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you for that kind endorsement, Pam, and we sure appreciate KAOI Radio having us on today. And we look forward to continuing with this. And just as a side note, there are machines at Ala Moana Shopping Center, Pearl Ridge Mall, the Polynesian Cultural Center in Oahu. On the Big Island, they're at Prince Kuhio Plaza and Queens Marketplace in Kona. So giving machines all over the state. If you're listening from off island, you're more than welcome to join them there.
Well, thank you so much, Arnold. It's been great to have you on the show, and I appreciate all you do for our community as well as our neighborhood. You are a treasure. All right. So thank you, Arnold. And Gary, while you get...
she's on.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we're so glad to have Tevaihani Williams Dewilde on. She is with Te Hotu Manu Creations, and she is here to talk about her amazing business and journey of how she got to begin starting her jewelry business with phenomenal pearls. So welcome, Tevaihani, and so glad to have you on. How are you this morning?
Hi, Pam. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm doing great. It's the holiday season, and we're racking up and getting ready for all the fun that's ahead.
There are so many great things happening. Tell us, though, a little bit about what inspired you to start creating a jewelry business, and what role does it play in your culture and the designs that you create to represent your culture?
So growing up between both Tahiti and Maui has shaped everything about the way we create jewelry. In Tahiti, I was surrounded by the beauty of the lagoons, obviously, the culture of my ancestors, and the timeless elegance of Tahitian pearls. Tahitian pearls are just a fascinating gem. There's so much to learn about them, and jewelry making became a passion when I was in high school. And when I moved back to Maui, I wanted to create a line of jewelry that reminded me of both places I'm really lucky to call home, and kind of mixed all that together, and that's how Te Hotu Mana started. We use many unique materials, shells, stones in our creations, and many of our pieces are Polynesian, Hawaiian inspired, and all while using quality Tahitian pearls that we personally fly to Tahiti and source directly from the farmers. And Te Hotu Mana kind of became a way for us to share our love for our culture, perpetuate our stories, and just bring joy to people who wear it.
I love that. And you've grown from small beginnings to now being well known across Hawaii. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
So we started our company, me and my husband started our company nearly 14 years ago, fresh out of high school. I think I was 17. I hadn't even graduated from high school yet, and I went and opened my business license. And starting, like I said, I was 17. We're knocking on doors of these big pearl farmers, and often they would ask us, oh, how many pearls do you want to buy? And we're like, I don't know, 30, 40. And they're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, call somebody else. We only sell by thousands of pearls. So we continue. We didn't give up. We continued knocking on doors, and finally a few people accepted to help us get started, and that's how we started. And we came to Maui and did all kinds of events here on Maui, of course, on Oahu, on the Big Island. We were doing events on several different islands back to back. We would fly all over the place, and that's kind of how we started. And it's been an amazing journey. We love to meet the people. We just love to meet people all across the islands and that are visiting, and it's been a really, really fun journey. Yeah.
I want to say, and you have blessed me when I have gone to television shows to promote the Mid and Maui County Festival. I've had the pleasure of getting to wear some of these beautiful pearl necklaces and earrings and showcasing them on TV. And of course, the television host just absolutely love them, as does everybody who sees them. Really spectacular, high quality Tahitian pearls and island inspired jewelry is amazing. Tell everybody where they can find your jewelry, especially this holiday season, but also always.
Yeah, so we met you 12 years ago. We were part of the first edition of the Mid and Maui County Festival. We've been with you every year since. This holiday season, you can find our jewelry online. We have an Etsy shop. COVID-19 had given us the opportunity to not only do events, but also to focus on more internationally export and all over the place. So Etsy, you can find us on www.tehotumana.com, Facebook, Instagram, and this weekend we will be at Queen Ka'ahumanu Shopping Center for the hometown holiday makeke. We'll be located in the old Longs Drugs, CVS, that's at Ka'ahumanu, Friday and Saturday. And we'll be having our big Black Friday sale releasing tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time online, and this weekend at the pop-up shop. So whoever wants to shop in person, come by, and we have something for the whole family.
Oh my gosh, so many exciting opportunities. So everybody, look for those opportunities. Go to www.tehotumana.com. Etsy, go to QKC this weekend. And don't forget this Friday, big 5 p.m. online sale. It's so good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. And I just want to say to all, blessings and best wishes to you and your families and friends for a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and holiday season. We'll be talking more about great gifts as we move forward into Christmas shopping. Blessings and best wishes. Aloha.